Hello, you're watching Weekly Highlights program on Azərbaycan Television with the major developments of the week. I'm your host, Ilham Məmmədov. Now, first, let's take a brief look at some of the top stories of this week. President of Azərbaycan İlham visited Egypt at the invitation of President of the United States Donald Trump and President of the Arab Republic of Egypt Abdel Fattah el-Sisi to participate in the Middle East Peace Summit. First Vice President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Mehriban Aliyeva, met with Pope Leo XIV during her official visit to the Holy See. President of Azerbaijan İlham visited Egypt at the invitation of President of the United States Donald Trump and President of the Arab Republic of Egypt Abdel Fattah el-Sisi to participate in the Middle East Peace Summit. President Ilham Aliyev arrived at the International Congress Center in Sharm el-Sheikh, where the summit was held. President of the Arab Republic of Egypt, Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, welcomed President Ilham Aliyev. Later, President of the United States, Donald Trump, greeted the Azerbaijani head of state. Then, presidents of Azerbaijan and the United States posed for photographs. The participants of the Middle East Peace Summit then gathered for a family photo. During the summit, President Donald Trump recalled the Washington meeting between the leaders of Azerbaijan and Armenia.
Here's a man, I just solved the war for him, Azerbaijan. Right, did I do a good job? Where's your compatriot here? Where his area is? You two guys are still getting along, right? They fought for 32 years. In about 1 hour, we settled it, right? And they like each other now, too. It's good. That's great. I think it's great.
Following the summit, the signing ceremony of the peace agreement took place. Delivering a statement after the signing ceremony, President of the United States of America touched on the achievements made in the White House in the direction of advancing the peace agenda between Azerbaijan and Armenia.
We have Armenia, and Azerbaijan. That's a little war that we stopped. That's a little war. There they are. Look at them. They're sitting. When I met with them, it was in the Oval Office. They fought for like 31 years or some crazy number. And they had one sitting on that side of the Oval Office, one sitting. By the time we finished in 1 hour, they were both hugging each other. And now they're friends and they're getting along great. Look at it. So I want to thank you both. That's incredible, really incredible.
On October 15th, President Ilham Aliyev received a delegation led by Elina Valtonen, OSCE chairperson in office and Minister for Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Finland. Expressing gratitude for the reception, Elina Valtonen first conveyed the greetings of President of the Republic of Finland, Alexander Stubb, to the head of state. President Ilham Aliyev thanked for the greetings and asked that his own greetings be conveyed to Alexander Stubb. During the conversation, the sites fondly recalled the meetings between the presidents of Azerbaijan and Finland, as well as Finland's high-level participation in the COP29 event held in Baku. Elina Valtanen congratulated President Ilham Aliyev on the progress achieved between Azerbaijan and Armenia in Washington, emphasizing its significance for restoring peace and stability across the OSCE area and for fostering regional cooperation. She announced that, at the request of Azerbaijan and Armenia, the activities of the OSCE Minsk process and its related structures would be terminated by December 1st, 2025. The head of state underlined that the agreements reached between Azerbaijan and Armenia in the presence of U.S. President Donald Trump in Washington had created favorable conditions for advancing the peace agenda. President Ilham Aliyev highlighted the importance of the TRIP project, for which Armenia assumed responsibility in Washington, noting its benefits for regional cooperation and its positive impact on the wider region. During the conversation, the sides also discussed cooperation between Azerbaijan and the OSCE and exchanged views on the prospects for Azerbaijan-Finland bilateral relations. On October 16th, President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Ilham Aliyev, received the Executive Director of the United Nations Human Settlements Program, Anna Claudia Rosbach.
During the conversation, the importance of the UN-hafted Executive Director's participation in the third Azerbaijan National Urban Forum held in the city of Khankendi was underscored. And Claudia Rosbach praised the excellent organization of the forum, emphasizing that the event featured discussions on the most pressing issues of urban development. The sides hailed the fact that several national urban forums have been held in Azerbaijan so far within the framework of the Azerbaijan UN-hafted partnership. The meeting highlighted the large-scale restoration and reconstruction works carried out in the Karabakh and East Zangezur economic regions of Azerbaijan, as well as the modern model of urban development which has been applied in construction of the cities and villages in the liberated territories. And Claudia Rosbach expressed her gratitude to Azerbaijan for its voluntary financial contributions to UN-hafted and support for the organization's activities. She emphasized Azerbaijan's successful hosting of COP29, noting with satisfaction that the climate agenda and urbanization activities were addressed together at this event and that Azerbaijan had undertaken initiatives in this regard. The meeting involved an exchange of views on preparations for the 13th session of the World Urban Forum, one of the United Nations' most prestigious events which Azerbaijan is set to host in 2026. The parties expressed confidence that this event, like other prominent international gatherings, would be excellently held. During the conversation, the sides also discussed prospects for a cooperation between Azerbaijan and the UN-hafted program.
On the same day, President Ilham Aliyev accepted the credentials of Marianne de Jong, the newly appointed ambassador of the Kingdom of the Netherlands to Azerbaijan.
The ambassador presented her credentials to the head of state. President Ilham Aliyev noted that there are good prospects for cooperation between the two countries. Recalling his meeting with Prime Minister of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, Dick Schoof, in Copenhagen, President Ilham Aliyev underlined that various aspects of the partnership were discussed and an agreement was reached to enhance cooperation in many areas during the meeting. Noting that Dutch companies are currently operating in Azerbaijan across various spheres, President Ilham Aliyev expressed his hope that their number will grow in the future. Expressing gratitude for the reception, Marianne de Jong conveyed the greetings of King Willem-Alexander of the Netherlands to the head of state. President Ilham Aliyev thanked for the greetings and asked the ambassador to convey his regards to the King and Prime Minister of the Netherlands. Marianne de Jong said the Netherlands intends to establish close cooperation with Azerbaijan in the political and economic spheres, stressing her confidence that this would be mutually beneficial.
The head of state received the credentials of Hussam Eldin Reda, the new ambassador of the Arab Republic of Egypt.
The ambassador presented his credentials to the head of state. President Ilham Aliyev congratulated the Arab Republic of Egypt on excellent organization of the Middle East Peace Summit in Sharm el-Sheikh. The head of state highly appreciated the invitation extended to Azerbaijan to participate in this event by U.S. President Donald Trump and Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, describing it as a sign of a mutual trust and friendship between Azerbaijan and Egypt. Following recalling President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi's visit to Azerbaijan and his own official visit to Egypt, President Ilham Aliyev noted the implementation of the issues discussed during those visits. Ambassador Hussam Eldin Reda conveyed the greetings of Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to the head of state. President Ilham Aliyev expressed gratitude for the greetings and asked the ambassador to convey his regards to President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. The sides underlined the importance of the Intergovernmental Commission, noting that its next session would be held soon. They emphasized that direct flights between Baku and the cities of Sharm el-Sheikh and Cairo have given a strong impetus to cooperation in the tourism sector. During the conversation, the parties also discussed prospects for cooperation in the cultural and humanitarian spheres.
President Ilham Aliyev accepted the credentials of Mariana Kuyundzic, the newly appointed head of the European Union delegation to Azerbaijan. Mariana Kuyundzic presented her credentials to President Ilham Aliyev. Fondly recalling his meetings with President of the European Council Antonio Costa and President of the European Commission Ursula von der Leyen in Tirana and Copenhagen, the head of state noted that detailed discussions on the prospects of bilateral cooperation had been held during those meetings. President Ilham Aliyev, emphasizing the recent dynamics in relations between Azerbaijan and the European Union, highlighted the visits of 3 EU commissioners to Azerbaijan within 1 year. Mariana Kuyundzic congratulated Azerbaijan on the progress made in advancing the peace agenda between Azerbaijan and Armenia in the presence of U.S. President Donald Trump in Washington. She commended Azerbaijan's active regional diplomacy, noting that President Ilham Aliyev's recent visits and participation in international summits are clear examples of this. She also underlined that there are favorable opportunities for the further development of relations between Azerbaijan and the European Union, touching upon successful cooperation in the energy and transport sector, and noted that the European Union closely supports projects aimed at creating regional transport connections. Mariana Kuyundzic announced that the European Union will continue to support Azerbaijan in demining operations. The meeting also featured an exchange of views on the prospects for future Azerbaijan-EU cooperation. This week, President Ilham Aliyev accepted the credentials of Sophie Lagut, the newly appointed ambassador of France. The ambassador presented her credentials to the head of state. Recalling his meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron in Copenhagen, President Ilham Aliyev stated that as a result of that meeting, past misunderstandings between the two countries have been resolved. Emphasizing that a new era has begun in bilateral relations, the head of state highlighted the importance of restoring and developing contacts between people and business representatives, as well as enhancing cooperation in cultural and humanitarian fields. Ambassador Lagut, in her turn, noted that a new page has opened in relations between Azerbaijan and France and pledged to spare no effort in further developing bilateral ties. The meeting addressed the successful development of Azerbaijan-France relations across various sectors, including high technologies and aerospace. The parties highlighted the importance of resuming the activities of the Intergovernmental Commission, strengthening sister city relations, organizing reciprocal visits by business delegations, and encouraging the participation of French companies in various projects. The successful partnership between Azerbaijan and France in the energy sector was also emphasized, particularly the importance of cooperation with Total. During the conversation, both sides exchanged views on the prospects of bilateral ties in multiple fields and stressed the necessity of continuing cooperation. On October 18th, President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Ilham Aliyev, received Brad Cooper, Commander of the U.S. Central Command and Admiral of the U.S. Navy. Admiral Brad Cooper conveyed his congratulations to President Ilham Aliyev on the achievements in advancing the peace agenda between Azerbaijan and Armenia, which were witnessed by the U.S. President in Washington. Expressing gratitude for the congratulations, the head of state highlighted the special role of President Donald Trump in this process, emphasizing that the documents signed in Washington create ample opportunities for the region's development. President Ilham Aliyev stated that Azerbaijan and Armenia have already adapted to living in conditions of peace. During the conversation, they hailed the recent development of Azerbaijan-U.S. bilateral relations and exchanged views on the prospects for cooperation in military and military technical fields. First Vice President Mehriban Aliyeva arrived in the Holy See, Vatican, on an official visit. On October 16th, as part of the visit, First Vice President Mehriban Aliyeva, along with family members, participated in the opening ceremony of the restoration project of the catacombs of Komandila, supported by the Heydar Aliyev Foundation, and reviewed the restoration work carried out. The first Vice President was welcomed by Pasquale Iacoboni, President of the Pontifical Commission for Sacred Archaeology, Cardinal Gianfranco Ravasi, President Emeritus of the Pontifical Council for Culture and President Emeritus of the Pontifical Commission for Sacred Archaeology, and Amadeo Ceccheri, President of the 8th Municipality of Rome. Pasquale Iacoboni noted that First Vice President Mehriban Aliyeva has been closely and effectively cooperating with the Commission for many years, and added that restoration of the Sant Marcellino and Pietro catacombs, as well as the St. Sebastian catacombs, was achieved thanks to the efforts of the Heydar Aliyev Foundation, and expresses deep gratitude to the Heydar Aliyev Foundation for the high level of works. President Emeritus of the Pontifical Commission for Sacred Archaeology, Gianfranco Ravasi, said that thanks to the support of the First Vice President and the assistance of the Foundation, today they are writing a new chapter in cooperation with the opening of these catacombs, emphasizing that for centuries Azerbaijan has been a land where representatives of different religions and cultures have lived together in peace, mutual respect, tolerance and harmony. First Vice President Mehriban Aliyeva said that these principles form the basis of both our state policy and our way of life. She expressed her confidence that in today's complex world, the expanding cooperation and friendship between our countries serve as an example. We are interested and ready to continue our cooperation in the future. Finally, I extend my congratulations to all of you on the Jubilee year, which carries great spiritual significance to the Catholic world. I also take this opportunity to invite you to visit Azerbaijan, said Mehriban Aliyeva. President of the 8th Municipality of Rome, Amadeo Ceccheri, expresses gratitude to those working under the leadership of First Vice President Mehriban Aliyeva for the restoration work. Afterwards, the opening ceremony of catacombs of Komandil, restored by the Heydar Aliyev Foundation, took place. During the visit of representatives from the Heydar Aliyev Foundation and Azerbaijan's religious communities to the Vatican, an agreement was signed on March 4, 2021 between the Foundation and the Pontifical Commission for Sacred Archaeology regarding the restoration of the catacombs of Komandila. In the 1950s, the construction of residential buildings in the surrounding area negatively affected the structural stability of the site. The support provided by the Heydar Aliyev Foundation safeguarded this invaluable archaeological monument from the risk of collapse. Heydar Aliyev Foundation continues to make a significant contribution to the preservation of global cultural heritage. These initiatives are highly valued by the Holy See as exemplary models of effective cooperation and the strengthening of intercultural dialogue. During her official visit to the Holy See on October 16th, Vice President Mehriban Aliyeva met with Cardinal James Harvey, Archpriest of the Papal Basilica of St. Paul, outside the walls. Recalling that this was her sixth visit to the Vatican over the past 14 years, First Vice President Mehriban Aliyeva noted that interstate relations between Azerbaijan and the Holy See have developed on a strong foundation of mutual respect and friendship. She highlighted the support provided by the Heydar Aliyev Foundation in restoring several important heritage sites over the years and emphasized that this cooperation would continue in the future. referring to the joint participation in the opening ceremony of the catacombs of St. Comodilla, Mehriban Aliyeva said, "This is one of the biggest projects of the Heydar Aliyev Foundation," and added that it's very sustainable partnership. Highlighting the Heydar Aliyev Foundation's involvement in the restoration of the facades of the Basilica of St. Paul outside the walls, Archpriest of the Papal Basilica of St. Paul, Cardinal James Harvey, underlined the substantial efforts made to complete this work. Considering the large number of visitors coming to Rome, he stressed that the restoration carried out with Azerbaijan's support holds exceptional importance for ensuring safety at the site. Following the meeting, a keepsake was presented to the Archpriest of the Papal Basilica of St. Paul outside the walls. First Vice President Mehriban Aliyeva, accompanied by Cardinal James Harvey, the Archpriest of the Papal Basilica of St. Paul outside the walls, visited the Basilica in the Vatican City to review the progress of restoration and construction work carried out with the support of the Heydar Aliyev Foundation. Priest Don Ludovico Turizi and architect Marco Chiriaci provided First Vice President Mehriban Aliyeva with detailed information about the Basilica and the restoration process there. The Basilica of St. Paul outside the walls is the second largest church in the Vatican City after St. Peter's Basilica and was inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List in 1980. On September 11, 2024, within the framework of the Jubilee year, celebrated by the Holy See every 25 years, a document was signed between the Governorate of the Vatican City State and the Heydar Aliyev Foundation to ensure the preservation and restoration of the marble coverings and decorative elements of St. Paul's Basilica. First Vice President Mehriban Aliyeva visited Europe's largest pediatric hospital, Bambino Gesù. The First Vice President familiarized herself with the hospital's molecular genetics and clinical diagnostics laboratories. President of Bambino Gesù Pediatric Hospital, Tiziano Onesti, provided Mehriban Aliyeva with detailed information about the laboratories. It was highlighted that although the hospital is financed by the Italian state and operates as a public healthcare institution, it remains under the jurisdiction of the Holy See and is directly accountable to it. On September 10th of this year, a Memorandum of Understanding and Cooperation was signed between the Heydar Aliyev Foundation, the Ministry of Health of the Republic of Azerbaijan, and the Holy See Bambino Gesù Pediatric Hospital. This partnership will make a significant contribution to the development of research in rare diseases, molecular genetics, clinical diagnostics, and related fields in Azerbaijan. On October 17th, First Vice President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Mehriban Aliyeva, met with Pope Leo XIV during her official visit to the Holy See. Expressing her gratitude for the reception by Pope Leo XIV, First Vice President Mehriban Aliyeva underlined that bilateral ties between the Holy See and Azerbaijan had significantly developed in recent years. The First Vice President mentioned that in recent years the Heydar Aliyev Foundation and the Holy See had collaborated extensively on restoration work, scientific research, and cultural exchanges. First Vice President Mehriban Aliyeva emphasized that following the successful completion of several projects, the Heydar Aliyev Foundation had launched other projects in accordance with its agreement signed with the Holy See. Pope Leo XIV highlighted the long-lasting bilateral cooperation between the Holy See and Azerbaijan. Pope Leo XIV expressed his gratitude to First Vice President Mehriban Aliyeva, noting that relations had developed significantly thanks to the initiatives put forward by her a few years ago. Pope Leo XIV underscored that this collaboration had significantly enhanced interreligious and intercivilizational dialogue, positioning Azerbaijan as a global leader in this field. Pope Leo XIV reiterated the Holy See's interest in continuing to implement these projects with Azerbaijan. First Vice President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Mehriban Aliyeva, met with Cardinal Pietro Parolin, Secretary of State of the Vatican. First Vice President Mehriban Aliyeva expressed her pleasure at meeting Cardinal Pietro Parolin again and congratulated the Catholic world on the occasion of the Jubilee year, emphasizing that Azerbaijan embodies the values of religious tolerance and multiculturalism as both state policy and a societal norm, Mehriban Aliyeva spoke about the work carried out by the Heydar Aliyev Foundation within the framework of cooperation with the Holy See. Cardinal Pietro Parolin expressed his honor at seeing First Vice President Mehriban Aliyeva again and conveyed his deep appreciation to the Azerbaijani state and personally to President Ilham Aliyev for efforts in strengthening relations with the Holy See. Highlighting the projects implemented with the support of the Heydar Aliyev Foundation, the Cardinal praised the cooperation and the exemplary relations between the state and the Catholic community in Azerbaijan. On October 17th, First Vice President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Mehriban Aliyeva, met with Sister Raffaella Petrini, President of the Governorate of the Vatican City State, reviewed the progress of restoration work carried out with the support of the Heydar Aliyev Foundation at St. Peter's Basilica, and visited the Vatican Apostolic Library. During the meeting was President of the Governorate of the Vatican City State, Sister Raffaella Petrini, expressed deep and sincere gratitude to the Azerbaijani state for the projects implemented by the Heydar Aliyev Foundation in the Vatican. She highly appreciated First Vice President Mehriban Aliyeva's visits to the Holy See, expressing gratitude for her valuable support in promoting mutual understanding, interfaith dialogue, and the development of cultural ties. First Vice President Mehriban Aliyeva thanked the Vatican City State Governorate for the warm reception and attention shown. She invited Sister Raffaella Petrini to make an official visit to Baku, emphasizing the importance of expanding cooperation between Azerbaijan and the Vatican in new directions. Then First Vice President Mehriban Aliyeva, along with family members and Sister Raffaella Petrini, participated in a tree planting ceremony in the Vatican Gardens. Afterwards, First Vice President Mehriban Aliyeva visited St. Peter's Basilica to review the progress of restoration work carried out with the support of the Heydar Aliyev Foundation. Cardinal Mauro Gambezzi, Archpriest of St. Peter's Basilica, provided First Vice President Mehriban Aliyeva with detailed information about the Basilica and the restoration process here. The largest church in the world, St. Peter's Basilica, is considered the religious center of the Catholic world and is one of the 4 papal basilicas in the Vatican. Cardinal Mauro Gambezzi, Archbishop of St. Peter's Basilica, expresses deep appreciation to First Vice President Mehriban Aliyeva for the high level and rapid implementation of the restoration work carried out in the church. On October 17th, First Vice President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Mehriban Aliyeva, visited the Vatican Apostolic Library. Archbishop Giovanni Cesare Pagassi, head of the Apostolic Library and Apostolic Archive, informed First Vice President Mehriban Aliyeva about the historical manuscripts, as well as historical sources, restored and digitized within the framework of the Memorandum of Understanding signed between the Heydar Aliyev Foundation, the Azerbaijan National Academy of Sciences, the Vatican Apostolic Library, and the Vatican Apostolic Archive. The cooperation with the Vatican Apostolic Library and the Vatican Apostolic Archive will provide Azerbaijani scientists and researchers with access to rare manuscripts, ancient maps, as well as valuable publications in various languages preserved there, thereby allowing to obtain new and important information about the historical and cultural heritage of Azerbaijan in the future. Then, First Vice President of Azerbaijan, Mehriban Aliyeva, presented a series of books and publications highlighting the history, nature, and cultural heritage of Azerbaijan to the Apostolic Library. The official opening ceremony of the Administrative Office of the Embassy of the Republic of Azerbaijan to the Holy See took place on October 17th. First Vice President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Mehriban Aliyeva, and Cardinal Pietro Parolin, Secretary of State of the Vatican, attended the event. Azerbaijan's ambassador to the Holy See, Ilgar Mukhtarov, briefed the participants in the newly opened administrative office located on Via della Conciliazione, the main avenue leading to St. Peter's Basilica in close proximity to the Apostolic Palace of the Vatican. Following the ceremony, First Vice President Mehriban Aliyeva and Cardinal Pietro Parolin exchanged views over tea on bilateral relations, the international agenda, and other matters of mutual interest. That was all for the week. Thank you for watching us and stay tuned not to miss the next edition of our program.